everybody? It's Ronnie with Daybreak Star Radio, sitting here in the studio, about to bring you another amazing interview. Sitting next to me, of course, is the always lovely DJ Red, aka Sherry Steele. And on the other screen, you're about to see is an amazing, amazing hip-hop artist. We've had the luxury of seeing twice in one weekend perform, and just can lay down beats like nobody's business. Thank you for being here, Ash the Hunter. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I've been doing pretty good. Been pretty good. Trying to survive this Arizona heat, you know. And it's only the beginning. It's only going to get hotter, so I'm not even ready for it.
Yeah. Well, it's up here in Coast Salish territory. It's almost like 60 degrees, and we're already kind of warm. So
they are. I'm not. When we were down in Albuquerque, we saw you perform. Everyone's running around in shorts and hot, and I'm like, God, people, it's cold. This is warm to you?
That's funny.
So, first off, if you could just give us a little bit of info about yourself, your tribe and all of that, so people can get to know a little more about who you are.
Okay. So I'm from the Yavapai-Apache Nation up in Camp Verde, Arizona. I grew up. That's my res. I lived in a small community called Tunley. And like doing the music thing, it started in 2016, and really wanted to like be an engineer. That was like my first thing, was like being an audio engineer. And then I realized I sucked at that and found my passion behind the mic. But it's hip hop and rap has always just been like a part of like who I am, and what I grew up on, like, being so young, my mom listening to Foxy Brown and Little Kim all the time. I'm sure eventually something stuck in my head, and so but yeah, I grew up in a really small community, like I said, the Yavapai-Apache Nation up in Camp Verde. Went to high school at the Sedona Red Rock High School of Performing Arts. So I did a lot of choir, was very musically intuitive from the very start of my life. So and then now I'm back in college at Phoenix College, trying to get my degree in music industry studies and trying to understand contracts, and then eventually would love to like open up for like Native youth, like a program where they can come in and I can teach them about what the industry is like, and help them record and whatnot. So that's my goal. That's my goal eventually. Just like a little bit of who I am.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome. That says a lot about who you are, for sure.
Thank you.
So it's one thing to be behind a mic and do some shows here and there, but what's inspired you to actually kind of make a career out of it?
I don't know, to be honest. It was such a passion in me. It's like a fire. It's like, so when I did my very first song behind the mic, it was a diss track to my ex-boyfriend. That's how it started, because he like wrote a diss track about me, and so like I did this song, and I did it like literally like in the bathroom in the studio apartment that we lived in Hollywood, and just like doing the song and being like, what, I sound really good, I should just keep doing this. And so like I kept doing it. Like I would probably, like, I kid you not, like make 5 or 6 songs a day and just kept practicing. Eventually like tuned my voice to like where I wanted it to be. And so like I said, like it's just been like always been a part of who I am. And then I would say I kind of took it seriously in 2018, when I was offered a show. I was given an opportunity. Like I was just messing around, to be honest. I wasn't sure if I was even going to make this into a career. At the time, I was working for like a tech company at Target. I thought like I was going to be a part of like the tech industry so much, not so much music. And then somebody had heard my SoundCloud, and they were like, hey, we have a show opportunity for you. We'd love to have you perform. So I was like, well, I guess it is a good opportunity for me to decide if this is something that I want to do, and how do I feel about performing in front of people, because obviously if I'm going to make this into my career, I got to be able to know I can perform in front of people, you know. So we did it was a little pop-up at in Canto Park in Phoenix. I don't know if you've ever been to Phoenix, Arizona, but it's called Encanto Park, and it was like a pop-up lowrider show. And I performed, and I had a lot of people stop. And I think it was at that moment I was like, you know what? People really responded to my music. Maybe I should just make this into, this is what I want. And I just kept going with it. I kept doing the music thing. And eventually, like, I quit my job and just focused on the music.
Nice. So I got to know, how does your heritage and background as a Yavapai-Apache influence your music and, you know, the artistic experience for you?
I think it plays such a key part in who I am as a rapper, you know, like, especially in like trying to be mainstream. That's what's going to make me different. Like, you know, I try to brand myself in every song that I do, you know, like, I'm Apache, you know, I'm always mean, you know. I tend to go more like on my Apache side. I am Yavapai and Hopi. I don't really talk about my Yavapai side because I was more taught and raised in the Apache side of things. Like, I had my sunrise ceremony, and which was filmed by Oprah as a fun fact.
Wow.
So I had my sunrise ceremony. I've been taught the Apache language, and everything I've done was on my Apache side. And so, you know, to me, like, Apaches are very, like, they mean mug. They're very, like, you know, aggressive. Like, you know, I've never met a nice Apache. You know what I mean? So, like,
Explain something.
when I was trying to build Ashton Hunter and trying to figure out who she was going to be, you know, was I going to, you know, did I want to represent all three of my tribes? And I felt like being, you know, putting Apache and representing that brand more really brought Ashton Hunter out, because Ashton Hunter in itself is very aggressive, very mean, very, you know, like, that's just who she is. I don't know if I can cuss, but like, don't f with her, kind of like, you know what I'm saying? But being, you know, it's always been, you know, we've been through artistically and everything that I've done and will do, you know, being Native American, and you know, when I was signed to a management company out in Hollywood, you know, I wasn't going by Ashton Hunter. I went by, like, I think it was called Eminence the Artist or something like that. And I remember them telling me, like, you're not going to, like, the only thing that's going to make you different is if you try and put your culture into whatever it is, everything that you're doing, including your name. And so I had to sit there for like a week trying to figure out, how can I incorporate my culture into my name as well. And then we eventually landed on Ashton Hunter, which was like, that's hard, you know, that's really hard, because women aren't known for being hunters like that, like, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, I just honestly on that, I keep thinking back to what you said about your first track and the diss track that you made for your ex, and I feel sorry. I've heard you perform, really like your music, and that must have been hard.
Oh yeah,
striking hard. Yeah,
especially after some of that stuff you laid down at the MC battle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So can you walk us through your songwriting process? Like, what are the elements you focus on when you're creating new tracks?
So I say it's very chaotic. My writing process, it's very ADHD like, I would say. Start on one song and then end up going to do it, you know. So like, sometimes, like, I'll write a verse or a hook, and then I'll put it away, and then like 2 weeks later I'll write something like a verse, and then I'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna add this hook in that I wrote 2 weeks ago into this. Other times it's just like, I have a producer who I work with. His name is Anti-00, and we work a lot, we collaborate a lot, and so like, even my writing process, he's a big part of it as well. Because sometimes, like, he does all of my beats for me, and we'll sit there and we'll be like, maybe we'll flow it like this, you know, we'll figure out the cadence of the flow and how we're going to flow it before we even put the words into it. like, well, like, okay, cool. Maybe we'll stick with that flow. We'll write to it, something like that. But that's just pretty much like how I normally go about a song. I'll write a verse and then I'll put it away and then write a hook and then put it away and then come back to it and like put it like a pieces to a puzzle together. So that's the writing process. Except for Bloodline. Bloodline is an interesting one in Crack Fiends Lurking because Bloodline I wrote in 5 minutes. Right before I had to go into the studio because I got in trouble by my manager because I was supposed to have 3 songs written and done for them to go record, and I only had 2. I didn't know what to write for this one, so I'm literally in the hotel room doing my makeup, writing this in like 5 minutes real quick. And then like we get to like the recording studio and he's like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "I don't even know how this is going to sound." We did it in 1 take. And that's how it is.
Well,
That's
Bloodline is good.
Wow, that was all in 1 take, and you wrote it in 5 minutes, huh?
Wow.
Impressive.
Yeah.
So I gotta know, what are some of the biggest challenges for you so far, being a Native American or as an artist in the hip hop community that you've had to face or overcome?
I'm still finding it now. Just being able to like take the mic in general. So like I can give you so many examples, but one, being a female in the rap game is hard in itself. Then you're gonna add on top of being Native American, that's gonna be even harder. So especially with what I'm trying to do, I'm not trying to go famous in the Native rap game or whatever. I'm trying to be like in the whole mainstream of things. You know what I'm saying? And you see the female rappers that we got, in mainstream. We got Sexy Red Megan. So like, where do I fit into that kind of category? I don't. So a good example, I was at a festival. I was performing at a festival here in Phoenix, and the DJ kept telling me, "Okay, you'll go on right after this performer." Then he'll put on another male performer. "Oh, you'll go on after this performer." It literally kept doing that all the way until 10 o'clock at night when I was supposed to perform at 3 p.m.
Oh my.
He would not give me the mic because he thought I was going to sing. So literally, and then another festival I was at, this guy spent an hour on the mic. He did his set. At this point, he's freestyling. He came up to me like right after I did my performance and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that I took over, your set time like that. I honestly thought you were going to go up and sing." And I'm like, even if I was, like, why wouldn't you just respect the set time?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the things like I've had to deal with, including like fighting with DJs because like I'll be like in the middle of a performance and then like my songs will cut off and then they just won't put it back on. And so then I have to cut my set time and I'm like, I'm irritated, and it's just like, I'm the only one they do it to, and I'm like, why is it that I'm the only one? Is it because I'm Native? Is it because I'm a female? You know what I'm saying? So those are some challenges and like now, like, and it wasn't until like a year ago and all the complaining that I did was like, why isn't these festivals and these concerts booking Native female acts? And when you do book Native female acts, who are you booking? Are you booking them because of their talent or are you booking them because you're trying to sexualize them? Just like every, male, blah, blah, blah. So, like this past year, I've been getting a lot more bookings because I feel like I'm voicing my opinion. Like, no, I'm putting my foot down. We need more female Native representation. There are so many talented Native female artists out there. Y'all can be putting it on the bill. It ain't just me and Stella. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many other people. So let's get them going. Let's get them on these bills and let's, promote our Native female artists. And so like just, men respecting us has been challenging. It's really hard. But, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to kick that door in.
Thank you. If somebody's out there to put a voice to it and to tell them what's up, it's most likely you. I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So, as an artist to date, so far, what are some of the biggest milestones you feel you've met?
I just feel, my pen, I guess you could say my pen game has definitely improved, than I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even like 6 months ago, some of the, like, I don't know, milestones.
Do you have any?
Putting out, I'm really proud of my very first studio album. I'm really proud of that. And I'm hoping to release more albums. I do have more projects coming, and I'm sure you guys are going to ask me about that. Getting to collaborate with Mato YU, he was a great milestone also, because it really, jumped my career. I felt like I tell Mato all the time, like, you jumpstarted my career. You have no idea. Like, people didn't know who I was until, like, I collaborated on Stink Face, and I'm really proud of that song, Stink Face, and being able to, work with Mato with like that, and him constantly always bringing me out to performances to perform Stink Face has always been, awesome. Like, we even got to do the Phoenix Suns halftime show together, which was a crazy experience in itself, getting to perform, it was a full crowd. I mean, how many people can you see in the Footprint Center? It's like 35 to 40,000, and it was a sold out game. So it was like halftime. So like half of the people were there. So it's like 15,000 people saw the halftime performance. That's a, a great milestone. And yeah, I would say just that, really. And then working on these new projects.
Are there any artists, either within or actually outside of the hip hop genre who you particularly have influenced your work, or any that you may dream of collaborating with one day?
Both native, and we'll do both native and the mainstream world. I've always wanted to collab with Snotty Nose Res Kids. Listened to them for a really long time, and I'm such a huge fan of them because, to me, they are the natives that made it mainstream as well. So that's my goal. And so I feel like we have the same goal in mind. I feel like we could really make some really great music. Like I said, I was really heavily influenced by Little Kim, Foxy Brown, and all that. Even now, like, I love Megan Thee Stallion. I love Cardi B. I love that female representation in the mainstream media as well. So it's like those always influence me. And then, would I love to collaborate with Cardi B? Of course, I would love to collaborate with Cardi B. Love to collaborate with Snotty Nose Res Kids. I didn't mention it once to Travis Thompson that we might do a collab. But that would be a major collaboration in the future. I hope really happens. And but I think I already did my big major collab that I always wanted to do, and that was with Mato, because I told Mato, it was a funny story. First season of Res Dogs dropped, and I remember sitting in my room in the dark, watching it, in like the last episode, it was like scored by Mato. Like, it just said Mato. Like, it didn't say Mato YU. It just said Mato. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna figure out who this Mato guy is, and I'm gonna make sure that he knows who I am. But we're gonna collaborate on a song. Did I know that a year later that would actually like fulfill? Like, no, I did not know that. So I'm speaking it out into the universe. Please give me a Snotty Nose Res Kids collab. But yeah.
Well, and I'm just gonna put it out there to the universe. Maybe a Lil Kim collab, because you and Lil Kim could actually kill people with your words together.
I would like to see Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown was my favorite. Like, I love Foxy Brown.
Yeah,
that girl knew how to twist it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw in Eve too.
Oh, yes.
She's my homegirl. I love her to death. She's gotten me through so many heartbreaks in my life. Let me blow your mind. Like, Oh my gosh. And you know what's crazy is I was talking about this in another radio interview because they were asking me like who my influencers were. And like my first person was Eve. So I'm surprised I didn't say that too. But you know, like it was great because Eve did have such a big part of who Ashton Hunter is too. Because to me, she was the epitome of like, you can be hard and classy. You know, like she wasn't like shaking her, like she wasn't in raunchy clothes. She was like, listen to my bars. I can really rap. You know what I'm saying? Like she was crazy and still is. She's amazing. I love Eve, you know, Rough Riders, all that. Like, it's just awesome. I love Eve.
All right. You heard that. All right. So how do you hope your music impacts your listeners, especially within the Native American community?
You know, I hope that when they listen to my music, I hope that they walk away feeling confident about themselves. When I started rapping, and I, you know, did the whole diss thing to my ex, you know, I had just walked away from a domestic relationship. Like it was very abusive. I was in the hospital for about 2 months because he had broken my left leg.
Wow.
And you know, even prior to that, it was very toxic. And so, it gave me like the fuel power I wanted to like be aggressive in my music. And so I always hoped that when girls or when women would listen to my music, they would feel that energy. And if they were in a relationship that was like that, they would leave, you know, they would feel that confidence and empowerment to want better and be better, you know? That actually, it was funny because that conversation, I had a conversation with this lady once who showed up to my show, in Colorado. And, she was just like, you know, crying. And she's like, I've been such a huge fan. I've listened to your album. I've listened to everything you posted on SoundCloud. I just wanted to let you know that because of your music, I left my abusive husband a week ago. And I was like, wow, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, you know, she gave me the story and she told me everything. And then she like gave me a hug. She kept crying. She said, thank you so much. You know, your music really, you know, empowered me. And like, I walked away crying in tears too. I was like, I felt like my message and everything that I had, everything that led up to that point, it's changed someone's life regardless. And that's what I wanted to do, is have that ability to change someone's life. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
That'd be a good feeling. So, talking about future projects, what future projects do you have coming out? Any collaborations you can tell us about that might be showing up? You know, you gave us some hints. What do we got? When's that next LP kid?
Okay, so yeah, I'm working. I did like 4 collaborations last month.
Oh wow!
Hopefully that they come out. I know that one just dropped a couple days ago with Traditious and a rap group from Atlanta called Trap Hari, and it's called The Cream. It's all on Spotify. Just you know, collaborated with Stin Johnny as well, and all that. Called On the Res for his album, which he released a couple months ago, and then I have one with Clan. I don't know if you know who Clan is. Changing Lives Around the Nations. Yeah, so we just got done doing collaboration. I don't know when they plan on releasing it, but it is definitely a really hard track. I really love this collaboration that we did because I think it's different than what everyone's expecting of Clan. And that's something that I told Clan too. I said, you know, when I want people to collaborate with me, I want it to be some crazy stuff that people never heard or expect. Like, you know, that's just how I want to do things. And so, and even for me, like, I'm always trying to find different sounds. That's why I'm always like on FaceTime with my producers. Like, I'm always like, hey, like, you know, I think that we should like find a melodic, very gritty type, you know. And like sometimes I'll be like, you ever have that like experience where you're in the subway and it's dirty and you don't, you know, like that's the explanation I would give to make my But anyway, so I was telling that to Clan. I was like, I need it to be hard. I don't need it to be like anything that you would do at like, no offense, like to youth conferences or anything like that. Or like, I just wanted to be hard. And so we came up with a song. It's called Pop Mine. And when it comes out, it's going to be crazy. I also have another song collaboration with that boy Apollo. I don't know if you know who he is. I do recommend y'all listen and stream his music because, he's a really good representation of, I think of it. I say he's like the male version of me. So, you think I go hard. That boy Apollo goes really hard. We have a collaboration coming out called Cooking Up, which he's dropping next weekend on all platforms. But other than that, for myself, lone projects, like I'm working on 2 projects right now, my EP as well as my album. My EP is almost done. It's called Hunting Season. And, yeah, there's going to be like 5 or 6 tracks on it. I'm trying to get a lot more features on it, but I think people who know me, I don't really I collaborate on a lot of people's stuff, but I don't do a lot of collaborations on myself, like for my own music. Only reason why I don't do that is because, if I do, it's got to be someone that they take their music seriously, because it's really hard to collaborate with people who have a vision, they stick to that vision, and they don't want anything, they don't care what you think or your input. So like if I have a vision and it's like, okay, this is how I want it to be done, and this is the reason why, they'll do their own thing. And I've had that so many times. I'm like, no, because you didn't follow the storyline, your verse doesn't make sense, and I can't have you do that. Like, it's all got to fit in. So, and then other times, like, people don't like to take criticism. So then they'll be like, I'm done. I don't want to be on the track with you anymore. And then I'm like, all right, then I guess, like, we'll toss that, or I'll just do the full verse, whatever. But but yeah, but I'm trying to do more collaborations on this album, not the EP, but the album in itself. So far I got a yes from Stin Jody, so he's gonna be on it. Monto's gonna be on it. Who else did I say yes to? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and aim for Travis Thompson. But if it doesn't work, that's okay. That's fine. My producer raps too, so he'll probably be on a song as well. And it's all produced by him, and the EP is all produced by my producer, and his name is Anti-00 from Virginia Beach.
Nice.
Lots to look forward to.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, what advice, kind of going back to you, maybe at some point in your future, creating a council or a group for Native youth to get into the music industry, but what advice would you give to Native youth to break into the industry and make their way as an artist?
This saying has always stuck with me, even from the work world, and I brought it with me into like the music world, is don't take a yes or don't take a no from somebody who couldn't give you a yes in the first place. Keep going. Don't take anyone's crap from anyone. Just, make your own lane, stick with it, and consistency. That's my thing is you just keep dropping. Even if you think it's bad, drop it. If that's all I guess I could say is it's just consistency. Don't take no's. Keep breaking down. Even like when you feel like giving up, just keep moving forward, because you're only really realistically, even if it's me, even if it's someone who's just started, you're one song away from going viral. That's just how I look at it. One song away from changing your whole life. Look at some of these other artists that are doing it, right? Like I can't even think of a single person right now in my head, but I'm sure once I'm done with this interview, I'll be like, oh my God, I could have said this, but I know that there's been like, rappers who literally put out one song and then it just went viral and like their whole lives changed, So it just takes one song. Keep making it. Even if you think it's bad, just keep producing music, because eventually, like what I did was like the more I kept producing, the more I kept making music, the more I was tuning my voice, the more I was getting better. So that's all I can say. Just keep doing it. And don't take it from anyone else.
Well, we want to thank you so much for speaking with us. We really, really appreciate it. You are amazing. And I can't wait for more music to come out and to see you perform live and get you up in here in Seattle again. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck to
Bye.
you.